Today we want to show you how to make a Punjabi winter classic. We're going to make gobi, shalgam or gajar ka achar. Achaar is Indian style pickle that's often eaten as an accompaniment to a meal. Usually quite concentrated in flavor, Achaars are consumed in small quantities and can transfer any boring meal into a celebration for the palate. Now, we're going to be honest with you and tell you that this is a more involved recipe. We're making pickle after all. However, most of that time is going to be waiting for things to dry or to cure. Your active involvement in this recipe is probably less than an hour's time. And then the result, your reward, is going to be glorious jars of sweet, sour, and savory achar that you can then enjoy for the months to come and share with your friends and family. So let's start the prep. Here we have equal quantities of cauliflower, turnip, and carrots. That's 500 grams of each. Here we're chopping the cauliflower in bite-sized florets. Next, the turnip. We cut off the ends and peel the turnip, and then we're slicing it in discs and then cutting those discs into French fry-like sticks. And finally, the carrots. We're going to start by peeling the carrots first. We're going to cut our carrot into sticks. And we want our carrot sticks to roughly be the same size as the turnip we cut earlier. So here you can see me using a turnip stick to measure. If you're enjoying this video, make sure to give it a like. And if you'd like to see more videos from our Punjabi kitchen in Berlin, don't forget to subscribe. Now that we have all our vegetables chopped up, we can start with blanching them. For that, first, we need to bring a large pot of water to a rolling boil. Add the cauliflower to the boiling water all at once and turn on a timer for 2 minutes. 2 minutes later, scoop the cauliflower out, ideally with a strainer that doesn't have wings. We struggled a little bit here with this one. Then, immediately run the cauliflower under cold running water. This not only stops the cooking process, but also helps the vegetables to firm and crisp up a little bit. So now, using the same pot of water, we're going to rinse and repeat the process for the turnips and the carrots. So that is 2-minute timer, remove the vegetables, rinse under cold water. Now, we move on to the most important part of this process, drying the vegetables. In order for the vegetables to pickle and preserve properly, they have to be completely dry. Too much moisture left over in the vegetables could result in mold or in spoilage of the pickle. So it's really important that you take the time to dry the vegetables out completely. Traditionally, this is done by air drying the vegetables in the sun. So, we're laying out the vegetables in the sunniest spot we could find in our Berlin apartment. Now, while our vegetables are drying, let's take some time to talk about pickles and the different types of pickles that are out there. There are many different techniques of making preserves and pickles. Here, we have some lacto-fermented pickles that have been preserved using salt. Here, we have pickles made with vinegar, and then achaar. These Indian pickles are preserved using oil. You can make achaar out of almost anything. And since they're preserved using oil, they can be stored at room temperature almost indefinitely. Some of our favorite achaars include stuffed red chili pickle, which is very savory and salty and actually not as spicy as you'd think. And of course, the gobi, shalgam and gajar ka achar that we're showing you how to make today. One common theme that you'll notice with achars is that they're all covered in a layer of oil. This flavored and spiced oil floats to the top of the jars, preventing the growth of bacteria and other harmful organisms, thus preserving this pickle. Since they are so potent, achars are usually eaten a teaspoon or two at a time. Think of them to be like a hot sauce, a pantry staple that can add a punch of flavor to any meal. Here you can see that we served up our gobi, shalgam and gajar ka achar with a plain classic paratha and some homemade dahi. Now that we've told you the important role that oil plays in the preserving of this achar, let's talk about one of the key ingredients in this recipe: mustard oil. Mustard oil is one of the most popular cooking oils in northern India. If you don't have a bottle of mustard oil in your pantry, this recipe is surely a reason to go out and get one. Mustard oil is made with cold-pressed mustard seeds and adds a wonderful spicy and wasabi-like aroma to this pickle. So let's move to the next step and prepare our spice-infused mustard oil. Here we're adding to the pan around 350 to 400 ml of mustard oil. We'll be flavoring this oil with a mixture of aromatics and spices. First of our spices is 1.5 tablespoons of mustard seeds. Here we're using black mustard seeds, but if you've got yellow mustard seeds, those work perfectly as well. Now we want to crush our mustard seeds. You can of course use a mortar and pestle for this, but we're going the lazy route and we're going to use our blender today. Crush the seeds into a coarse powder that looks something like this and set aside. The rest of our spices include Kashmiri red chili powder, garam masala, and salt. And now finally, our aromatics. We're going to make a paste with some ginger, garlic, and red onion. Add the aromatics to a blender and blend to a fine paste. Alternately, you can of course use a mortar and pestle for this as well. Now, add the paste to the mustard oil and fry till the aromatics are well roasted and start browning around the edges. This is going to take a few minutes. Then, turn off the heat and add in the spice powders. We're starting with the mustard that we crushed earlier. The Kashmiri red chili powder, garam masala, and the salt. Make sure everything is mixed through and well incorporated in the oil. While our oil is cooling down, we're going to prepare the final ingredients for this pickle. The signature sweet and sour taste comes from the addition of jaggery and vinegar, and they're both going to help further preserve this pickle. Mix the two together till they're well combined, and then add them to the flavored oil we prepared earlier. Now, our spice-infused mustard oil is finally ready, and we can mix it together with our dried vegetables. Add the vegetables to a large bowl and pour over the mustard oil. Toss the vegetables in the flavored oil to make sure that every bit of vegetable is thoroughly coated with the oil. Now, after all this hard work, the pickle needs to rest for a couple of days. Cover the bowl and place it on your kitchen counter. Make sure to check on the pickle a couple of times every day and give it a good stir. This process of waiting before jarring the pickle not only helps it to cure faster, but also helps to mix together and redistribute any water that would release from mixing the vegetables with the flavored oil. It's finally time to bottle our pickle. At this stage, the pickle is ready to consume, and once added to the jars, it will continue to mature and develop more flavor. Spoon in the pickle into jars that have been cleaned and dried thoroughly. Make sure that you press the vegetables to the bottom of the jar as you're adding them in. In order to prevent the pickle from spoiling, we want to ensure that the vegetables don't come in contact with air and are submerged under a layer of oil. That's it, folks. So that's our take on gobi, shalgam or gajar ka achar. We hope that you enjoyed the video and happy pickling!